Today is wedding Q&A. Thank you to everyone who submitted a wedding question coming off from my daughter Carly's wedding, which took place, it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. So this video is going out on a Friday. Tomorrow it will be officially 2 weeks. There is an Instagram highlight titled Carly's wedding if you want to see the footage, what little bit I could take that day because I was hosting. The day after the wedding, I jumped on Instagram stories and said, hey, I get a lot of questions whenever I host a party, especially the weddings, so I am opening it up to you. As you know, if you follow me, we have 3 daughters that are now married, and all 3 of them used our backyard. Kirsten and Tim had a big wedding initially planned a few years ago, but the pandemic put the kibosh to that. And cancellations and different things took place. They did get married in a church, but they had their reception in our backyard. Our 3rd daughter, McKenna, and her husband, Bobby, got married in June of last year, June of 2022, and they wanted their wedding to be in our backyard, and they created the most beautiful wedding. They created it and it was stunning. So check out that highlight. And then now our 4th daughter, Carly, and her husband, Jackson, wanted to have their small, quaint little wedding get-together in our backyard. So what a blessing that is. Who would have ever thought? We certainly wouldn't have, but this is what they chose, and it really made it very special. So we're going to dive into the questions. I will do my best to answer them. I have not read the questions prior to answering, so there may be questions that I just don't have the answers to, but hopefully I will do my best to answer whatever you're looking for. And if you're getting married, or maybe you have a son or daughter, hopefully what I share with you today, you can take some nuggets from, but it's your journey. I'm not here to tell anyone how they should do things. At the end of the day, it's not our wedding anyway. What they should do, how they should do, what they should spend, that's going to be for you and your partner, your significant other, your spouse, their parent, their mother or father, to decide what's best for you guys. But I enjoy sharing with you today. So let's dive into the wedding Q&A. The first question is on the topic of bad weather. What is the backup plan for rain? Does everyone go inside your home? And another person added in, your yard is lovely. Thank you for that compliment. Yes, the backup plan is to have the party inside. Paul and I are really good about watching the weather way in advance. I would say about a week and a half to 2 weeks prior to party day. We are watching the weather prediction every single day. And typically, if you are watching it every single day, you can pretty much get a good gauge on if the weather is going to take a turn, because although the weatherman is not always correct, usually it's a rough idea. And we had a stretch of really nice weather. So for Carly and Jackson's wedding, we knew we were good to go. We did host a party about 3 years ago, I believe, I think it was 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, where we watched the weather. In the day before the party, we made a decision that we needed to prepare the inside of the house because we could tell that we were going to have bad weather. And we had really bad weather. We even had maybe a tornado warning. I don't really recall, but I filmed a video of that, and it'll really show you how we all pull together and we make it work. There's footage of the guys taking the furniture down into the basement so that we could set up the banquet tables to seat everyone to eat. So I will be sure to share that video in the description box below. The next questions, there's several. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 questions on the topic of how much Paul and I contributed. So how, and kind of related to that, here's a question here. How do the parents of the son-in-law feel about you hosting, and did they help with organizing? Well, I believe, based on what was communicated to me, our son-in-law, Jackson's family, they were ecstatic that we were hosting the wedding, and that's what Carly and Jackson wanted. So who doesn't want their children to have the wedding that they desire? So they were very, very pleased with that. Did they help with organizing? Well, there wasn't really a lot of help that was needed, but they did pick up the party. We had a fruit platter, and I had already ordered it online and paid for it. And they had asked Jackson to ask me, or ask Paul and I, if there was anything we could use help with. And I needed someone to go and pick up that platter. And so they did. It worked out perfectly. So they would have helped out in any way. They offered to come over earlier in the day of the wedding, earlier on Saturday, and help, but we had enough people and enough of the tasks were taken care of, so luckily they didn't need to. How do you deal with other side of family you don't like or are rude? Well, I've never had that happen. I'm guessing this person is asking if our girls married into his side of the family that we didn't like or are rude. We just have not encountered that. Paul and I are very easygoing. Our kids are very easygoing, and neither Paul nor me, neither one of us grew up in families where there was drama. There was never aunts not talking to one another, or people not speaking to one another. Neither one of us grew up with that, and I think a lot of times that seed is planted very early on. And the other beautiful thing is our girls that have married so far did not marry into a family that was like that. And I've talked before how that is a red flag. When you marry someone, you're marrying into their family, and if you already see there's a lot of toxicity and drama, understand you are marrying into that, and it's going to be really hard to not be affected by that. So it's definitely something it would be a deal breaker for me, I think, and I would hope that for my children it would be a deal breaker, and I do believe that it would be. How do you manage yourself when you don't respect your child's partner? Well, again, I don't have to worry about managing myself in that way because I have so much respect for our sons-in-laws, and the other two that are dating, oh my gosh, have so much respect for them as well. So I don't know. This is where coaching could be beneficial, because if you don't respect your child's partner, we would want to explore why that is. And it's very interesting that your child chose that person as their partner. So we would want to explore that. And then we go into, how much do you set aside for each kid? I feel like I need to prep now for later. Absolutely. I fully believe that this is a conversation that you need to have with your partner, your spouse, the children's father or mother, whoever's watching this video, if the two of you are married. If this is a blended family and you have a spouse or significant other, and it is not the child that's getting married, it's not their parent, you still need to have that conversation with your partner if you're a unity, if you're a union. So this isn't a conversation that starts between you and the children or the child that's getting married. This is a conversation that you want to have with your spouse, your significant other or partner early on, to have this amount of contribution that you plan on making, to have that way in advance. And then, oops, sorry, I had a timer going off. And then at some point you need to start communicating that to your children, because the more years that they are aware of what the contribution is going to be, the less disappointed anyone would be if they were expecting more. Certainly, if they were expecting less, they're going to be thrilled about maybe the amount. But everything always boils down to being a really good and solid communicator. Hi, Tracy. How much do you give each daughter, and do you purchase the wedding dress? So Paul and I contribute $8,000 to each one of our girls for their wedding, for our girls and their fiance. They each get $8,000. So we are very generous. We see it that way. I believe our girls see us being very generous in that amount. We don't purchase the wedding dress. Well, I guess I'll put it to you this way. Maybe. So the way it works is when you get engaged, we remind you that we will be contributing $8,000 for you to spend however you would like. If you choose to go to the courthouse and basically elope and not have any type of ceremony whatsoever, which kind of is what Carly was proposing, is we really don't want anything. We're just going to go to the courthouse and we're not even going to get dressed up or anything, and we're just going to get married. And I said, well, just know that you can still have a wedding like that and have it in someone's yard or at a restaurant. So you do have options to keep it scaled back. And I'll talk more about that in a bit. So they get to determine when they would like their contribution of $8,000. If they have a lot of vendors to put deposits down, they may want the money earlier on. It really is up to each child. It's their money. We see it as this is a gift for the couple. You get to use it however you'd like. You don't have to share with us what you do with your money. It is yours. It's a gift to you. Take the gift. If they decided to use some of that money towards the wedding dress, that would be up to them. I don't believe anyone in the 3 girls that have gotten married have spent any of their money on the wedding dress, because I don't know if any of them even had their contribution yet, but essentially they pick out their dress and pay for it. Do you just give each girl a certain amount, lump sum? Yes, it is a lump sum. With 5 daughters, how did you save and put aside the money for their weddings? Well, Paul and I, our big savers, and we do diversify. We have different accounts and funds that we invest money in. Some of those investments, you can get that money without paying a penalty. So that would be one option. When Carly got her $8,000, or I should say Carly and Jackson, I happened to have the money, or we had the money in an account, and I just went to the bank and I had a cashier's check created for her because that money was very much readily available. But if you are looking for tips in that area, as you diversify your money, you want to make sure that some of the accounts that you put your money in, you can access. I have a CD that actually comes due this month. I think it's like October 27th. It was a 1-year CD. And because the CD paid more interest than what I would get in a savings account, I put the money in there. Now, I can leave that money in this CD, but it was a 1-year CD. If I wanted to take that money out this month, I could. So it's important to have some resources where if you do need to get money, because maybe you don't know that you're going to need a significant amount, you can get to that. I would never advise putting anything on credit for a wedding, but that would be your decision. Many people do a lot of things on credit, so and it doesn't always get paid right back within that first month. We also have a parent's contribution. Your thoughts, daughters versus sons amounts. Personally, I feel that if you have sons and daughters, I believe the contribution should be the same for all your children. That's just kind of the lens that we've always came from in our home. We didn't have both sons and daughters, but had we, yes, we would do the same. So if we had a son, he would get $8,000 just like the girls do. And once again, he can apply it however he would like. How do you guys determine the amount you saved for your kid's wedding? We really kind of, just like I shared earlier, Paul and I had this discussion, and we kind of had the $10,000 as the amount in our mind, but I wanted to offer my girls to have at least one shower thrown by me. Now, back when I got married, the mother of the bride or mother of the groom didn't typically throw the showers. The aunts did, but it's gotten away from that. And I know at least in our family, it's almost always the mother of the bride or the mother of the expectant mom, with maybe the sisters or sister-in-laws helping and contributing. So you want if your child wants, if your son or daughter, or if your daughter wants a shower and no one is standing up to offer it, then it may fall on the mother. And because that's just kind of how it happened in our situation, I felt like having a $2,000 budget was a good amount for a shower. And then when it comes to the shower, each of the girls get one shower. So you can either have a wedding shower that we pay for or a baby shower that we pay for. And that allows the other family to host the other shower. So for example, if we do your wedding shower, then your baby shower can be hosted by his side of the family. And again, there's nothing wrong with having that communication. Now, McKenna did have a wedding shower and she had a baby shower, and it was Bobby's side contributed to both, so it kind of evened out because it wasn't like I just covered one and they just covered one. We worked together, so it was a beautiful system. And then Kirsten didn't have a wedding shower because it fell during COVID, so she only had a baby shower, which I funded, and Tim's mom did contribute, and then Carly didn't have a shower. I took the amount that we would have spent on her shower and applied it to her wedding day festivities since they were doing something small. So Carly and Jackson got a full check for their $8,000, but the expenses for the day of, like the florals, anything I needed to rent, the food that they chose, to the catering pans, because she chose not to have a shower and she doesn't plan on having any children, meaning she'll probably never have a baby shower, then the money went towards that. And you don't get the difference. So her expense came in, I think, under $1,000. You don't get the remainder. So it's just, your budget is $2,000. If we spend $600, great. If we spend $1,800, that's great as well. So hopefully that helps. Here's another one on contribution. If you had an only child, would you contribute more or pay for the entire wedding? Well, I don't understand the whole paying for an entire wedding, because how do we know what type of wedding our kids are going to have? If I had an only child and she wanted what Carly had, well, okay, I would have made out like a bandit because the expense came in under $1,000. So would you still give your child a gift of money? So we have no idea what an entire wedding would be. So I certainly cannot say ever that we would even consider paying for an entire wedding, knowing we don't know what the wedding they're going to choose looks like. Do I believe if we had an only child, we would contribute more? I just don't know. I'm not the type to think about things and waste my time thinking about something that's just never going to be. It's not the reality. So it's not something we've ever thought about, nor will I ever need to. How much do you contribute? Okay, we've got that. I covered the next one about keeping your money in a savings or a Roth. Since you have multiple weddings to contribute, how do you save for that? We covered. My parents did the same with small amount and little input, and I still resent it years later. Oh, I'm so sorry, Abby, to hear that you have resentment. It's probably showing up in other areas, not just the wedding. There could be some things in your upbringing, and I hope that you can work through that, because that's not a great place to be for you or your parents. Here's some questions regarding contribution for bridal shower. Let me just go through these and see if I need to add anything. If a daughter chooses to have a bridal shower, do you and Paul also contribute financially? I covered that. Do you offer your girls a bridal shower? Covered. Do you have a bridal shower or just wedding? Okay, so I covered all of that. Here is one that it took 3 times for this person to submit her question to get it all in. Because you only give, she put 7,000, but that's not accurate. It's actually 8,000. So because you only give, let's say 8,000, and make the girls pay for the rest. We don't make our girls do anything, so that's not accurate either. We don't make, no, they're grown adults. You can't make a grown adult do something. Do you think they feel cheated out of a bigger wedding? They choose their wedding, so if our girls felt cheated out of a bigger wedding, they chose it, right? They chose their weddings. All 3 girls that are married chose their wedding. No one chose it for them. I can already tell just by reading this person's comment and question, she feels controlled. I don't know by whom, probably her parents, maybe someone else. But this is a person who believes this is happening to me. And no, it's not. It doesn't work that way in our home. And I can't imagine it would work well in any home to be controlled by anything or anyone. Especially as most kids can't pay for it. So she also believes most kids can't pay for it, which we would call limited belief. A lot going on for this person. It wasn't their decision for you to have 5 kids. No. Again, we make our own decisions. You have the power to make your decisions as well. Hence the spend limit you give. Your choice, but curious as to how they feel. Well, again, they chose their wedding. They had the wedding they dreamed of having. They had the wedding that they, along with their partner, their fiance, they had the wedding they chose to have. So why would you feel cheated if you chose everything? This is a perfect example of probably a lot of things going on for this person and how they see it, probably based on their own upbringing. Below are questions about how long they've been together. Okay, how long was Carly and Jackson engaged before they got married yesterday? And then the other one, how long was Carly engaged and where did she meet Jackson? So we'll start with where they met. Believe it or not, we've known Jackson since Carly and Jackson maybe were in middle school. I want to say middle school. It could be younger, but if it is, I don't recall of him. So Jackson did not go to the same school as Carly, but his family went to the same church that we went to. And Carly and Jackson were in a youth band. For those of you who have followed me for a long time, way back in the Snapchat days, I used to share Carly at church in the youth band. So there was maybe 5, 6 members in this youth band that played at our church. And Jackson was in the youth band. I'm pretty sure he played the guitar, and then Carly played the piano or keyboard and sang. I don't think Jackson sang, maybe some backup. So we always knew Jackson, and they did get together in church type events, and he's been to our home, but because they knew each other through the church, but they never dated. Carly's had a couple other boyfriends, and I even remember she would sometimes get together with different people that were in the youth band, even one-on-one, while she was dating other people, because these were just her youth band people. After they graduated from high school, they stayed connected and still would see each other, even though they were done with the youth band, because people go off to college. And then at some point, it kind of turned into, it was no longer just they were friends. So I would say, I want to say maybe 2 years they've actually dated before getting engaged, but I really honestly don't know. I just know we've known Jackson since they were both quite young, again, middle school age. And then how long were they engaged? I'm pretty sure they got engaged the weekend before Labor Day. So let's see, let me go to my calendar because I don't actually know this either. Labor Day was, when was Labor Day? Oh my gosh, I don't even have it on my calendar, but we went somewhere. Oh, we didn't. Let me put the travel on. There we go. Okay, so Labor Day was on Monday, the 4th of September. So I believe they got engaged the last weekend of August, like maybe 25th, 26th, 27th, somewhere around there. And then, so then they would have gotten married about a month later. So about a 1 month engagement, just under maybe, I believe. Hopefully I have that right. If not, well, I don't. Let's see. So that covers those questions. Okay, moving on. So these questions are about how long I had to prepare for the wedding. Not long, but it was so small. It really just was a get-together, almost like a cookout is how I would refer to it. But is it okay to ask how many days in advance you knew you would be hosting a wedding party? How long did the preparations take? It looks so beautiful and authentic. Thank you. How long did it take to plan a small, simple wedding? Did you have less time to prepare for this wedding? If yes, what did you do different? Beautiful wedding. How long did you all have to plan for this wedding? How long did you have to prepare for Carly's wedding? How long did it take? Okay, so these are all about the same. Not very long. I'll be completely honest with you. When Carly, I think she reached out to me initially and said that there was a good chance maybe they would just go to the courthouse, get married, but they wanted to come back to our house and, you know, have his family over and our family and have a bonfire, you know, cook out, whatever. And I think that's when I told her, well, always know that you still could get married even at our house. You don't have to go to a courthouse if you decided you didn't want to do it that way. You have options. Well, what was weird is the next time I talked to her, she told me that she reached out to the officiant that Kirsten and McKenna both used at their wedding. So Carly and Jackson reached out to him. I had no idea that they were going to do this. And she said, he will marry us in your backyard, but he only has, he's booked for the entire month, but he could come for a later night. He could, for a later night vows, for later in the evening. I think she said, like he could arrive about 6, so we'd have to do a 6:30, and they really wanted to use him, and they were thinking about putting a deposit down. And I said, okay, sounds great. She gave me the 2 dates. One of the dates didn't work, and then the other one did, but I'll share with you, I wasn't thrilled at this point. Not because I wasn't thrilled for Carly and Jackson. I wasn't thrilled that we were hosting anything because we had just hosted a party for Kirsten along with McKenna and Bobby on August August 19th, we had a pretty significant party. I have an Instagram highlight sharing Kirsten's 30th, and then McKenna wanted to throw her a little sprinkle for the second baby. So we had just taken everything out of the garage, stored it in the basement, all the party stuff was put away, and now I'm finding out there could potentially be another party in our backyard. Because I plan next week, this week, organize tomorrow, today, plan next month, this month, I already had other things on my radar for the month of September. Not planning any type of party, whether small or big. And so I wasn't thrilled about this. And I even asked Carly, does it have to be here? Is there an option of having it at Jackson's family's home? And she said, no, we want it there. We want it at your house. So I had to get over my being a little selfish, right? Of this is my agenda for September. And once I got my head wrapped around it, I was in a much better place. And I remember communicating to Carly and pretty much apologizing that I probably didn't come off thrilled at all about their engagement. And I said, it's not about the two of you getting married. It's the fact that it's coming so quick and it impacts us. It impacts your father and I because we're hosting. But she did share, Mom, it's super small. It won't even be as big as what Kirsten's 30th birthday party was. We're not extending it out that far. Again, this is their wedding. They called the shots. I just sat back and said, you guide me. So for that person that thinks somehow we're creating our girls' wedding, no, it's not that way at all. They are creating their wedding, how they see it, how they want it, which is how it should be, we believe. I had my wedding. Paul and I had our wedding. We created our wedding. We planned our wedding. Let the kids decide what they want for their wedding, and then we're here to support you, whatever you need from us. So I had to get through that little hurdle of I'm having another party. And then basically from there, we just started to pull weight. So I feel like maybe 3 weeks. I'm curious when I originally reached out to the florist that I use and I get my rentals from. When I say rentals, I mean chairs and table linens. We have tables. So I reached out to her. I don't know. We're not going to spend any more time, but I want to say it was about 3 weeks. And I remember even Marcia saying, we're completely booked that weekend. We're blacked out. This is like a big wedding weekend. But she said, because it's such a small project, meaning the florals, the flowers, I will see if I can get it approved. And then she got back with me and said, yeah, we'll do it. So love it. Love it. Still have some flowers here. Still have flowers upstairs. So we didn't have a lot of time, but I am an expert host. And I say that with full confidence. I am an expert at hosting. I am an expert at entertaining. I can do it in my sleep. I never once was stressed. Not one time. Once I got past the initial, this is not what I wanted to do in the month of September, I never once was stressed. The day of, the hour before, 2 days prior, 2 weeks prior. I have so much experience in this area that it gets to a point where it's just your wheelhouse. So no one better for her to say, Mom, you've got this, than me. Okay, let's see. Did I cover all of that? Prepare for the wedding. Okay, I think I got all that. Here, these are wedding planning related. Why was Carly Shay's wedding a surprise? Well, I'll be honest with you. I can't really say most of the family was surprised. Carly does things in a way that we're kind of like, yeah, this is kind of how Carly does things. So we really weren't surprised. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, it is very much Carly's way of just like, hey, I'm getting engaged next week and then we're getting married next month. It's kind of just Carly. So that's okay. So I can't really say it was a surprise. But maybe, and I don't know. I take it as it is. That's just my honest answer. Why the rush to get married for your third daughter? Well, this is actually my fourth daughter, so it's not my third daughter. My third daughter is already married, but this is the third daughter that got married. I don't fully have the answer as to why they wanted to get married so soon, but I think a lot of it is her apartment that she has by herself. Her lease is up, and then her now husband Jackson lives in North Carolina. He is a Marine, and that is where he is stationed. And so I think the timing, and then that's where she moved to. So she's moving. When this video goes, she moves like the 16th, October, the middle of October, she is moving. So Paul is taking that Friday off. Jackson's dad is helping. Jackson's dad is actually driving the U-Haul to North Carolina, and I think Jackson and Carly are flying him home. They bought him a ticket. Jackson is already there. He actually left the day after their wedding. So I think it all was more related with that, but you know what, that's their journey. So we never really dove into that too much. Tracy, you have a standing relationship with your florist. How did you pick or find them, traits to look for? So I started working with Marcia when she was assigned to McKenna's bridal shower, and we really connected. I liked her communication style. I wish everyone operated like her. There are some people that we use because we like the finished project of maybe what they do, but they're difficult to work with. What I love about Marcia is she's easy to work with, and I am one that appreciates people that are easy to work with. She gets me, she knows what I like, she has a rough idea of my budget, and it's just a well-oiled machine, and I love that. There's not all these emails and texts because she doesn't believe in herself or whatever. That can drive you crazy, but sometimes you have to push through those type of vendors because you like their finished project. But Marcia is just amazing, so I will continue to use her. I will continue. Do you wash your flower vases in the dishwasher? I don't. So they are all my vases. You can always go to Instagram stories. There's a highlight titled Carly's Wedding where I shared, and I'll even put a little bit of clips in here, maybe at the end or somewhere, showing you the day after the wedding. I did a little walkthrough of all of the flowers that are on my dining room table. You know, you wish you could have sent them off with people, but people leave before the party's really over, and here I am with all of my vases. But when I get flowers arranged for a party, I package up, I wash all the vases, I bubble wrap them. I actually have a bin that all the wrap stays in. I use the same bin, and then I drop it off to the establishment, and then they bring them with the arrangements in them. When I dispose of the flowers after they die, I hand wash, or I have my assistant hand wash all of the vases. Will you be selling any of the wedding decor, so to speak? I don't have any wedding decor. She didn't have a wedding like what you would typically think. So go to my Instagram stories. We basically just set up a couple tables out back that we own. We have these tables. We rented a few chairs. The bistro chairs, the tall ones, those are ours. And I ordered some flowers, but there was no decor whatsoever. Carly ordered cupcakes. She took care of that order, the number. She took care of all of that. I left the envelope out. Carly picked up the cupcakes, and I had the money in the envelope because, again, we covered that expense in lieu of a shower, but she did everything. They did everything. In fact, all of the flowers, I sent her some pictures and said, here's some ideas for the timing of the year. Let me know if you like these. She said, Jackson and I will look at them and get back with you. That is how all of our girls operate. Everything was always a collaboration with their fiance. everything. They never made decisions. Of course, probably the wedding dress, because they didn't see the wedding dress until after, or the day of, but everything was always between them. It wasn't me picking them out. So the flowers, I sent pictures to Carly. Carly and Jackson reviewed the pictures. They got back with me. They said, this is what we love. This is the theme we're looking for based on what I shared. I sent those over to Marcia. So at the end of the day, they chose it, and it's a beautiful thing to be. I don't want to choose that because I chose for my wedding. I want my girls to choose for their wedding. Do you rent those long tables and wooden chairs? No, the tables are all ours, and we do have 10, I believe, folding chairs, but they're not all identical. So when we host a party like this, we rent the chairs. Carly and Jackson selected the chairs. I gave them the link to the website of the place that we rent from, and they have oodles of chairs to choose from. McKenna and Bobby rented all of their rentals from the same place and had completely different chairs. I rented chairs from this place for Carly's 30th. Again, go to the Instagram stories, or I'm sorry, Kirsten's 30th birthday. Go to the Instagram stories. You'll see that we went with white. Carly and Jackson chose the chairs, and she sent me a picture. She took a screenshot, circled, and said, these are the chairs we want. So we did rent, I think, 14 chairs to cover. We set up an 8-foot table and a 6-foot table, and then we had the bar height tables. And again, the bar height tables that you'll see in the Instagram stories for Carly's wedding, we own those. Wedding cleanup. Great question. How do you plan cleaning up after a wedding? Who helps? Do you hire a cleaning crew? Another one. Do you hire cleaners for after the wedding? Well, again, this was a small party. I can't say it was like this big full-blown wedding like some people are envisioning. Our kids. I actually came inside and went into the bathroom to get my makeup off and get into something comfortable. When I came out, Tim and Kirsten and Bobby and McKenna left because they had little ones. So Haley and her boyfriend, Chloe and her boyfriend, Carly and Jackson, Paul and I knocked it out very quickly. Everything was pretty much taken care of. I never washed a dish. I think Carly and Chloe maybe washed all the dishes, but the kids, they grew up doing things. So there's no pulling teeth. It's just they know what to do. They know this by nature, just like I learned as a child and pulled weight too. Fashion, beauty related question. Your daughter's dress looks vintage. Was it a family member's? Well, it wasn't vintage. And someone else said, love her dress. Dress link, please. Carly borrowed her dress from McKenna. So again, Carly is daughter number 4. She borrowed the dress she wore, which wasn't a wedding dress, but she wore it for her wedding dress. She borrowed it from McKenna. I think McKenna purchased this dress as a possibility for maybe her baby shower. I don't really recall. It's not a maternity dress. But anyways, when we got together Labor Day weekend, McKenna, I didn't know anything about it. Evidently, they talked. And McKenna, all I know is some dress appeared. McKenna pulled it out and showed it to Carly, and Carly went into the camper and tried it on and came back and said, yeah, I love it. I'm going to wear this. So it was a borrowed dress of McKenna's. What made Carly not to choose a veil or headpiece? I really don't know, but considering she didn't wear a traditional wedding dress, maybe. I don't even know if my other girls wore that. I guess I've never really paid attention, but she looks lovely. Thank you. Yes, she did. But it wouldn't have probably fit the theme for such a simple look that she was going after, but I really don't have that answer. With you being a makeup wearer, how do you feel with Carly opting out to not wear it? Well, Carly did wear makeup, so I can't help with that question. She did her own makeup. And I don't even know. I don't know what Carly wears for makeup, but I know she did her own makeup. Where did she get her dress? I don't know where it's from. I need to see a pic of you, a picture of the mother of the bride, please. And would you repeat an outfit on your daughter's wedding day? I think that means, would I wear something I wore? I probably would never wear the same mother of the bride dress to any more weddings. I think having a new dress for all of my daughter's weddings would be ideal, but what you see me wearing today is what I wore for Carly's wedding, and as soon as the pictures come back, I will be sure to share. We only got one picture taken of us, and it was with Mac in June, and it wasn't the greatest. I'll see if I can find it and maybe put it in here, but I am wearing today the dress that I wore so that you could see how beautiful it is in the color. Okay, here's just some random questions. The first one, is Carly pregnant? She's not. And I don't know that we'll ever get babies from Carly and Jackson. It's not in the plans. She's been pretty clear about that for many years, but we definitely do see having more grandbabies. In fact, when I film this video, our oldest daughter, Kirsten, she's like just over 39 weeks, but by the time this video publishes, I wouldn't be surprised if the baby is born. So we do expect to get more grandbabies, but I don't think we're going to get any from Carly. We'll see. You know what the nice thing is? People can change their mind, and it's not our decision to make, and we are fully supportive of whatever our daughters and their husbands choose to do. Yes, we are those type of parents. And Paul and I were raised in homes like that too, and maybe that's one of the reasons why we really just do have wonderful families. I think a lot of it is what I'm sharing with you today. It's seeing your children when they're adults as adults. They're grown adults. Let them adult, right? And make those decisions. But our girls are great. We love them. Okay, barely saw Carly smiling in most clips. Was this a planned wedding or rush due to his service? So it wasn't a rush service, and I am not sure about Carly not smiling in most clips because we haven't even saw the photos yet. So not sure where this person is coming from, but typically as a coach, I'm getting a good idea. And you have to say, who's the one not smiling? But just bizarre. But anyway, there's always going to be a few of those. Sweet wedding. Congrats to the newlyweds. Thank you. Is your new son-in-law active duty? He is. He actually was in Japan and just got back a few months ago. So yeah, he is active duty. Tell us about your wedding. I'd have preferred Carly's, but did big for family. Yes, our wedding, Paul and I, we had a very, very large Catholic wedding, very large reception, kind of what most people did at that time. We paid for the majority of it ourselves. Our parents contributed, so we came from contributing families as well. Paul and I had and it was a very nice wedding. It was beautiful. It's exactly what I wanted at that time. Would I want that wedding today? No. Small, sweet, simple, and save the money would be my preference, but to each their own, and that's what served us at the time. What do you think of superstitions at weddings, like not wearing pearls, rain, etc.? I am not aware of any wedding superstitions, so I can't be of help, but I will share that it did rain on my wedding day. Paul and I have been married for 32 years, so we'll see what happens. We've got a lot of years to go. What is the secret for successfully having 3 married daughters? If there's one thing that I hope you take away today is everything that I shared, because what I shared with you today explains it all. It really explains it all. Did your daughters choose civil or religious marriage? They chose the weddings that I've shared. So if you want to see them, there's a highlight in my Instagram. Kirsten and Tim's wedding is in there. McKenna and Bobby's wedding is in there. And now Carly's wedding is in there. Do you think smaller weddings are becoming popular? I hate to say what's popular and what's not. I feel like I'm witnessing more smaller weddings, but I'm also still seeing really big, large, lavish weddings. So I don't know. I initially would want to say yes, they are more popular than probably when I got married, but I think it's just whatever, and I think that's beautiful. People just need to do the wedding that they want to do, and I can tell by some of the comments, not everyone sees it that way, and I'll share with you that every time I went to one of the vendors with one of my daughters, if they invited me, right? Hey, Mom, do you want to go to my florist appointment with me? Right? They invited me. It's their wedding, so I'm invited because I'm not paying for the florist. They are. They're choosing their flowers. They're paying for it. Maybe they're using some of their $8,000. I don't know. I have no idea. We don't get an itemized list. It's not our money. I can't tell you how many times I've been told, you're not a normal mother of the bride. You are not, usually the mother of the bride is running the show at these appointments, not the bride. And it's really sad. I think that's really sad. I didn't have that when I got married. I chose everything for my wedding. I thought that's what you do, but evidently it's not always the case. It sounds like a lot of the mothers are choosing and selecting, and I'm sure there's a reason behind that. And it's probably not a serving reason, right? It probably is not even wedding related, but more coming from something else. But at the end of the day, all I can say is if I have one tip for anyone watching, let your children and their spouse build and create the wedding that they desire. That would be a great tip. Do you observe your daughter's wedding anniversaries? And if so, what do you do? I text them, happy anniversary. Kirsten and Tim, happy anniversary. McKenna and Bobby, happy anniversary. It's not our day, it's their day. Again, step back and let them have their day. My anniversary with their father is our day. It's not their day, it's our day. Now, they got us a cake for our 25th, and they all came over and we ate together, which was really sweet. But other than that, anniversaries are for the couple. They're for the couple. I don't send a greeting card. I don't need to. They can get a card for one another. Just my thoughts. Where did they leave to? Okay, so the day after the wedding, Jackson flew back to North Carolina. Carly is still here in Michigan. She is in the process of wrapping up everything in her apartment, and she will leave on October 16th to join her husband. And we're so excited for them, and we can't wait to have another place to go visit. So we'll have 2 out-of-state daughters. Are they going on a honeymoon? Not that I'm aware of, but I've never even asked. There you go. Just being honest. Okay, this is one general wedding question. Thank you, by the way, to my business manager, Haley. She took all these questions. This is my first time reading them, but she created a beautiful outline to help streamline this, and it's just been so helpful. Okay, how do you decide on bridesmaids maid of honor? I decided I wanted my sister in my wedding, and then I had a cousin in my wedding, and then my girlfriends. But I do have a video where I talk about choosing your bridesmaids and something to think about if you're trying to navigate this. I will make sure that video is linked. That would be the one to watch. I've always wanted to have them, but I don't have close friends or family that I trust. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that you don't have anyone you can trust. You probably wouldn't want to ask anyone you can't trust, but I don't know what's going on there, but that probably wouldn't be a good idea. Trying to plan an intimate wedding abroad, any tips? Also planning winter wedding in UK. I wish I could help you with that. I do expect that I may have a daughter someday get married in the UK, but I'm not good on this. How do you choose dates for a wedding? Say if we wanted a winter theme or autumn theme. I would look and see if there's anything that could be going on that day for your wedding that could prevent people from attending. So a holiday, a big event, that could be something to look for, but these are really tough questions. So I apologize if I'm not getting your answers to you. Here's just some comments. Thank you to your son-in-law for his service. Beautiful wedding and bride. Thank you, Kelly, for that. Super sweet. No questions. So delighted for Carly and Jackson. Love and light always. That's beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful couple, by the way, from someone from, that's from Michigan. I can tell by her logo. Thank you. No questions. Just wanted to compliment your family on 3 beautiful weddings. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And I take no credit. Even on Carly and Jackson's day, his family, Jackson's family, kept, telling us how beautiful everything was, and just just compliment after compliment. And I just continue to say, they chose it all. They chose it all. They chose the food. They chose the place the food was coming from. They knew exactly what they wanted for the menu. They chose having cupcakes. They chose the flavor of the cupcakes. They chose the design on the cupcakes. They chose the flowers. They chose the chairs. White table linens, I mentioned. She said that sounds great, but they did it. In McKenna and Bobby's wedding, in Kirsten and Tim's beautiful weddings, they chose all themselves. So I can't take any credit for it, except for supporting them. Carly looks so beautiful. They are glowing. What a romantic wedding. Great fun. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. These were great questions. Great questions. I love to share. Again, I love hosting. I love entertaining. And I thought it was just so beautiful that another daughter wanted to get married in our backyard. I don't predict the next 2 will. I don't know that we'll have this backyard, for one thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if we have a wedding in another country at some point. Who knows? Time will tell. And I think we're a few years out before if the other 2 get married, which I'm okay with. And, but you know what? Whatever they decide to do, we are here to support and love them and welcome the guys. We are just so blessed with amazing sons-in-laws, and their families are blessed with our beautiful daughters. So thank you for all of the questions. Again, I will try to have as many links in the description box below for other videos to watch. Check out the Instagram stories highlights if you want to see more footage of entertaining parties, the weddings. It's all there. But once again, thank you for taking the time to submit your questions, to watch my content, and to support me here on this channel as well as on Instagram. All right, take care.